everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I'm here with my latest journal flip through. This is Gardens of the Imagination, and this is a very chunky book. It is 10 by 7.5. It has a 2.5-inch spine, 7 signatures visibly stitched on this beautiful cover, and it's 256 pages. So it's a big, chunky, wonderful garden imagination journal. So the book itself was kind of inspired by this book called Gardens of the Imagination, but I took it to kind of another level like I typically do when I'm making journals. So I made this beautiful cover with this wonderful selections of fabric. We have a lovely doily that goes over the spine, and on both the front and back we have this image that was from the Gardens of the Imagination book. I just loved the way, I just like the overall image itself and just the feel it gives the book. And then I created this large embossed label with the title here, just because I wanted to add something a little special and nice feeling and sturdy on the front. So this is stitched onto the cover. There are gold metal eyelets and vintage seam binding used to close this book. And I've been very generous with the seam binding. There's lots of it there. You could trim it if you wanted to. I tend to give a lot if possible. So this fabric is really, really beautiful. And I have created 2 big pockets, both at the front and the back of this journal. So in the front pocket, we have a couple things. This, which is just kind of a fun piece of like interesting paper that came from an old book. I thought it would be fun for writing on the back. I did this bit of, used some fun masking tape. It has a nice texture, so you could definitely write on it as is. You could back the whole thing if you wanted. I just wanted to keep all of these plates kind of intact. I just like how they look. And then this journal card is a fun trapped acetate journal card with this lovely image back here. We have a ticket collage, and then I've trapped a thistle in there and stitched the whole thing closed. So nice, fun, sturdy journal card. So the first page is an image that is a garden of the imagination, and it's really beautiful, and there's lots of pages like this throughout the book. On this one I stitched some lace here because I like how it peeks behind the cover itself. But I didn't want to make the book super lacy or anything. I just liked it for the front page. Then here we have this image of kind of this interesting moth and this boy going into this lilac bush. There's lots of kind of symbolism and interesting magic about this. This is some dyed log paper with this large botanical image with a candlestick coming out of it, very surreal feeling. More dyed paper, dot matrix paper, collage pocket on this fun purple moth paper, and then this collage tag that has this little couple of sweet peas here, and then just a fun little bit of stationery with like veggies, plants, and mushrooms. So those just pop into this pocket. And then we have another fun little surreal flower that matches this dyed paper. This is from a large macro photography book that I have that's all close-ups of flowers. So you really see like all of the pistils and all the things on the flowers. And then this is just some fun. This was from a book. It was like an end page in a book. I liked the color. And a little folio that I created, just a collaged one, just fun writing space. And then this journal card inside. It's been collaged. And on the back we have this fun shaped belly band. It says the summer in the heart. And this is a little collaged journal card with fun watercolored paper on the back. That's a little hand painted doll face that I did. And then the other side of the macro and log papers. This is a fun pocket with an image from the book of some surreal plants. And then this is a very surrealist feeling collaged journal card. We're walking down this arch pathway here. More hand-dyed papers. A very fun surreal flower. And then this wonderful image And two more beautiful images from the book, the original Garden of the Imagination book. I just love the illustration style. This is another page from the book here, the owl flying over all of these lilies toward this castle. More surreal flowers on dyed logbook paper and more macro photography. This is an eco-printed leafy page from a boiled book, actually. This has these nice gold butterflies back here and a purple floral pocket with this is actually another little tuck spot. Even though I don't have anything, I should put something inside of it. Maybe this little teacup. It will go nicely, I think, with this. This is a piece of stationery with a hummingbird and a bunch of flowers. And that tucks in there for loads of writing space. And then we'll put this little teacup in here for another little journal card. I think those go nicely together, actually. Makes me think of an English tea garden, right? That's one of the kinds of gardens of the imagination. Then we have a little floral here, some music tablature. This is from a fun book. It says, it was only in the 15th century that succulents were discovered by Europeans. And then over here, this talks about culture and symbolism, cacti, succulents. It talks about the links to like what their meanings are, their history, and that they used to be known as a protection against thunderstorms. And so there's all sorts of cool information, more than what I'm telling you right now, because I don't want to make the video too long. But yeah, good fun information there on plants. And then this is a collaged belly band with this little pansy person here, and then this journal card inside with these bees flying to these little flowers. And this is on some really beautiful green handmade paper from the papertrail.ca, a local business to me. This is about hallucinogens and succulents and kind of like their history of like psychoactive things like peyote and that sort of thing. So just another little fun thing. I always like in journals when I can write or like when I can have little tidbits of info. It's kind of like fun to do a little reading when you have a big journal like this. Medicinal use and food, about succulents and more music tablature. This says the Garden of Live Flowers. It's a lovely botanical pocket. And then this lion here, another beautiful image from the Gardens of the Imagination. And then more boiled book page and macro photography of plants. This is hand-dyed lab paper, and this is another surreal flower. This is Gardens of Love. This is one of the gardens that are talked about in the book, the Song of Solomon from the Bible. A garden enclosed is my sister, my spouse, a spring shut up, a fountain sealed. Thy plants are an orchid of pomegranates with pleasure fruits, camphire, with spikenard and saffron, calamus and cinnamon, with all trees of frankincense and myrrh, and aloes, with all the chief spices, a fountain of gardens, a well of living waters, and streams from Lebanon. Awake, O north wind, and come, thou south, blow upon my garden, that the spices thereof may flow out. Let my beloved come into his garden and eat his pleasant fruits. I am come into my garden, my sister, my spouse. I have gathered my myrrh with my spice. I have eaten my honeycomb with my honey. I have drunk my wine with my milk. Eat, O friends, drink, yea, drink abundantly, O beloved. So that is from the Song of Solomon. And then over here we have this little collage pocket, a little grasshopper with a blackberry there. And then back here it says the Baron and the trees. I like that plant, so I left that here, but I did cover some of the text because it was sort of going back to the story of the book. But I like this Rice's Seeds cabbage ad on this vintage, it's from a vintage book, and then it's on a collage board. Large journal card. And then another lovely page from the book and some more handmade paper from the papertrail.ca. Some more of that purple botanical, a little surreal blue butterfly on this log paper that's been hand dyed. More macro photography and another little flower. tea-dyed paper, and then this is a fun like fabric botanical pocket that I made with this little girl. I felt like she fit really well there on these roses from a vintage book. And this is the snowdrop. You asked why spring's fair firstborn flower is white. Peering from out the warm earth long ago, it saw above its head great drifts of snow and blanched with fright. And that is from Clinton Scollard. It is a 19th century verse. So that's a journal card. And then we have this botanical pocket on this black and white garden scene back here. And then we have this lovely surreal journal card with the moon and a branch and then a cloud that is very ominously shaped. And that's also from the original book. And then some ledger paper, some hand-painted painty paper. And this little it's like a little flower pot with some flowers coming out. And we have this journal card here. This is another of the surreal Gardens of the Imagination images. More of that painty paper. And this is painted with acrylic, which is so lovely to write on top of. More ledger paper. And then this was from a beautiful book about roses, and I just did I left some of the info here and obviously the images and did a bit of collaging. This is cabbage dyed paper. This says Flower of the Month Anemone, and it's a little collaged pocket with this beautiful tag inside with this snake looking up at these apples. I think it's a Garden of Eden symbology reference. Tea-dyed paper, more of that floral macro photography, and hand-dyed log paper. Just some fun botanical paper, a little collaged file folder pocket on handmade paper. And then this is a piece of stationery also from the Garden of the Imagination, and I backed it with this fun paper for some nice writing space. Another beautiful image from the original book. And then another one there. This is a thread collage kind of pocket. We have another beautiful surreal image here. We've got tiger lilies and maybe roses with little faces. And then this is a fun little piece of stationery, just with some nature and a collage with a little squirrel there. Gardens of Enchantment, some fun flowers. And then these flowers on this pocket on this beautiful paper, and then a large pansy tag, a strange and mystic story, how moistened earthly dust can wear celestial glory. So I like the blues and the celestial feel with the pansies and flowers on this spread. It's just fun. Little rose there. And then this is a belly band made from the original book. We have this woman sitting there with like a lyre in this mountain scene. And this is some supersized like vintage encyclopedia that was blown up in cabbage dyed. And then this piece of stationery with poppies on the front, and on the back it says Gardens of the Mind, and we have a little thistle there. Not just tucks on in here. Tea-dyed paper. This is from a vintage book. It's got beautiful black work botanicals. You could watercolor them if you wanted to, or paint them, color them. Some lovely fractal paper with a bit of sparkle that I dyed. Really great fractals. From Paradise Lost, The Temptation of Eve by John Milton. So that poem is there. That verse begins there, and it continues here on this side. I left the whole verse in so that you could have it in the book. And then we have here this Temptation of Eve. This is an image from the Gardens of the Imagination. Beautifully illustrated. More tea-dyed paper. So here we have a nice collage pocket with a bit of fabric, and this is a big botanical journal card of elderberries. This is on the large format macro paper with those lovely flowers. Then this is a really fun collage pocket I made. There's a few of these throughout the book, and this one has a little eucalyptus leaf here, some brads and things, and then this lovely magical mushroom and firefly, very cottagecore feeling journal card on tea-dyed paper. More of that verse. It actually follows over, yeah, just over that page, and then we have this beautiful image from the original book. Then some of my dyed paper and more of that black and white botanical plates. Tea dyed paper, large format encyclopedia with a collaged bird feeder kind of pocket. And then this surreal image of this little girl with the giant butterfly. This is a fun kind of clustery pocket, lots of lovely botanicals. And from the Garden of the Imagination, this girl is a snake, a little journal card. More dyed log paper, and this is Girl Gardening by Pablo Neruda, and that follows through onto a couple of pages. Then we have another amazing image from the original book. Stationery, some radishes on tea-dyed paper. Macro photography and more dyed log paper with a little surreal butterfly there. Cluster pocket with botanicals. A garden is a grand teacher. It teaches patience and careful watchfulness. It teaches industry and thrift. And this is backed in packaging paper because thrift. A surreal mushroom and some tea-dyed paper. More of that beautiful verse. And another lovely image from the Garden of the Imagination. More fractal dyed paper. A little tuck spot here with this surreal image of this girl who's like a statuette looking out on this surreal landscape. That came out of like a Surrealism book. And then this is from an Antique Rose history book. And then this is a little tuck spot here. I love this image. Some collaging. And this girl here with her little basket of violets. Fun journal card. Some really beautiful green construction paper. I love that bluey green. It's really fun. That just opens. A little poppy tuck spot with, this is from the Antique Rose book. It's like a nice black and white artsy history of roses kind of image. And then this is a nice big journal card here, botanicals. This amazing wreath and more of my dyed paper, Gardens of Paradise, The Mower to the Glowworms, which is a beautiful Andrew Marvell verse. It goes on to the next other side of the page as well. Tea-dyed paper, this little pocket here. This is a little bit from the original book with the bee flying into the flowers. That says greenhouse, and that's a journal card on a collage board. Some dyed log paper, macro photography, tea-dyed paper with a really fun surreal mushroom, and more of that verse. As I mentioned, it goes on the other side here. Another beautiful image from Gardens of the Imagination. Here too, and we're kind of advancing in seasons. Vintage ledger paper, Gardens of Transformation. Amazing page from the original book. This little nature notebook clustery pocket here with this little tag inside that says spring, and in green underwood and cover, blossom by blossom, the spring begins. And that's a fun tag on construction paper. More macro photography and a dyed log paper here with some of my collage fodder images that I make. This little pocket, a garden is not a place. It is a passage, a passion. We don't know where we're going. To pass through is enough. To pass through is to remain. And then this bee tag with a little label here on a collage board. Watercolored paper on back. Tea-dyed and collage papers. This fun botanical pocket with this lovely journal card. This mousy brown construction paper and beautiful black and white, black work illustrations. Another of those fun collagey pockets. And this is a cute piece of ephemera, a beautiful image in a garden with some fun writing paper behind. These are braided together, and we have the Sea Poppy by Robert Bridges, 1844 to 1930. And then in another amazing image from the original book, I think actually that's from the History of Roses. Collaging, tea-dyed paper, a little flower, the Gardens of the Imagination, the pocket, and then this little booklet is really fun. So we have all these little fairies in the wood here. In the Wood, a verse from Adelaide A. Proctor, 1825 to 1864. In the wood where shadows are deepest from the branches overhead, where the wild wood strawberries cluster and the softest moss is spread, I met today with a fairy, and I followed her where she led. Some magical words she uttered I alone could understand, for the sky grew bluer and brighter while there rose on either hand the cloudy walls of a palace that was built in fairyland, and I stood in a strange enchantment I had noted before. In my heart of hearts was the magic of days that will come no more, the magic of joy departed that time can never restore, that never, never again can be. Shall I tell you what the powerful fairy built up this palace for me? It was only a little white violet I found at the root of a tree. And inside we have a lovely verse about October, a potpourri from a Surrey garden, Mrs. C.W. Earle, some fun, purposely kind of tattered packaging paper, and then the Song of the Chrysanthemum from Nora Perry, a 19th century verse. I will leave those to your eyes should you decide to adopt this journal. Some more dyed log paper with surreal, beautiful purple flowers, macro photography, another botanical pocket with some leaves and a little tub there, a little journal card on construction paper, another amazing image from the original Gardens of the Imagination book, and then more ledger paper, vintage with a surreal mushroom there, more beautiful verse, another amazing page from the original Gardens of the Imagination, stationery and hand-dyed paper, macro photography, surreal flower. This pocket this is a piece that I did recently in one of my videos for the color cubers. So I liked this surreal kind of folk art cow, and we have this leaf and some painting and the bums on the back. I had a giggle, and I thought that would fit so funny into Gardens of the Imagination. I just kind of imagined this garden with this silly cow wandering around. And then another surreal flower, cabbage dyed paper, upper tuck spot collage here with botanicals, and then this very kind of cottage core feeling journal card of this girl wandering off into the sunset in a field. More vintage ledger paper, A Tale of Two Gardens by Octavia Paz. This goes on to all of these pages until we get to here with this beautiful garden. More vintage ledger and cabbage dyed paper. This is a fun image from the original book of this man gasping at this spider web in the window. And then this forest gentleman here from the book about the history of roses. I really liked him for this book. Some surreal flowers and macro photography, my beautiful hand-dyed paper, and the last page is this amazing page from the original book. And then over here we have Gardens of Temptation, ending with this little collage board with watercolor on back for more writing space, and another nice big pocket. You could fit lots more in here, but I have included this beautiful journal card of this lovely young lady. She's collecting flowers on this ornate tray, and that is the end, my friends, of the Gardens of the Imagination. I love how this book turned out, and I hope you liked it too. If you are interested and you're seeing this video, that means that this book has gone into my shop. You can find all my links down below in the description box, and thank you so much for joining me for the flip through of this lovely book. We'll talk again very soon. Bye for now.